Hi everybody, my name is Claudia Martinez Rodriguez, and today I'm going to talk about the case of Clarence Elkins, a man who was unjustly imprisoned in Ohio after being charged with murder and rape. This case is particularly interesting because it illustrates several psychological elements that led to an innocent person's wrongful conviction. By examining the roles of eyewitness misidentification, tunnel vision, and confirmation bias, we can gain some insight into how these factors affected the case's outcome. On June 7, 1998, in Barberton, Ohio, Judith Johnson was raped and murdered, and her 6-year-old granddaughter, Brooke, who was also assaulted, identified Clarence Elkins, her uncle by marriage, as the perpetrator. Despite having a solid alibi and no physical evidence linking him to the crime, Elkins was convicted and sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. One of the primary reasons for Elkins' wrongful conviction was eyewitness misidentification. Brooke's identification of Elkins was crucial to the case, even though her viewing conditions were limited and initially she was hesitant to identify anyone. According to Rvdb 2022, research shows that various factors, including stress, weapon focus, and cross-racial identification, can lead to inaccurate eyewitness identification. In the case of Brooke's emotional state and the brief time she had to view the perpetrator likely contributed to her misidentification. Tunnel vision is a cognitive bias that occurs when investigators and prosecutors focus solely on one suspect, ignoring or downplaying other potential guilt or evidence. In Elkins' case, investigators quickly assumed his guilt and dismissed other potential suspects or exculpatory evidence, then concentrated only on building a case against Elkins, failing to thoroughly investigate other leads. Bowman and Gould, 2020, stated that this tunnel vision hindered a comprehensive evaluation of the facts, leading to Elkins' wrongful conviction. Confirmation bias is the tendency to interpret or prioritize information in a way that confirms pre-existing beliefs or assumptions. Throughout Elkins' trial, the prosecution exhibits confirmation bias by selectively presenting evidence that supports their belief in his guilt while ignoring or discrediting contradictory evidence. According to Bowman and Gould, 2020, this bias can be influence how evidence is presented to the jury, how witnesses are cross-examined, and how evidence is interpreted. Confirmation bias prevented a fair trial and reinforced the false perception of Elkins' guilt. The eyewitness identification procedure in Elkins' case did not adhere to industry standards. Research suggests that double-blind methods where officers are administering the identification is unaware of the suspect's identity can reduce bias. Rvdb 2022 stated that the absence of such a protocol in this case likely contributed to the misidentification. In the investigation demonstrated tunnel vision by dismissing potential exculpatory evidence and failing to investigate alternative suspects. A more thorough and objective investigative approach could have uncovered crucial information that would have questioned Elkins' guilt. Furthermore, the fairness of the judicial process was compromised by the selective presentation of evidence and the confirmation bias during the trial. Prosecutors have an ethical duty to provide the jury with a fair and accurate portrayal of evidence. In this case, the breach of this duty led to the concealment of evidence favorable to the defense and an unjust trial for Elkins. Lastly, the case of Clarence Elkins serves as a powerful example of the detrimental effects of psychological factors on the criminal justice system. Eyewitness misidentification, tunnel vision, and confirmation bias played significant roles in Elkins' wrongful conviction. By understanding these psychological phenomena and implementing best practices such as double-blind identification procedures and unbiased investigations, we can work towards a more reliable and just legal system. It is essential to continue to review and improve procedures and practices within the criminal justice system to minimize the risk of wrongful convictions. Thank you so much for your time.